contact group meeting, which was attended by about 60 representatives, about 50 countries, over 50 countries, and about 10 international organizations. I will request the chairman of the conference to give you the gist of the German statement, because that would set the tone for you to know. But by and large, there was general agreement that the progress which Afghanistan has maintained, has been able to achieve in the last decade, shouldn't be lost sight of, and that all efforts must be made to promote an Afghan-owned and Afghan-led process. Emphasis must remain on reconstruction, and the reconciliation process must start as early as possible, and the Afghans government has some specific suggestions on that, some of which were shared by the others. I will request Ambassador Koch to give the gist of the German state.
Thank you very much, dear friend. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Michael Koch. I'm the Special Representative for Afghanistan and Pakistan of the Federal Government of Germany, and have the honor to be the chairperson of the International Contact Group, as mentioned before, and I'll read to you the chairman's statement. That means it is my statement, statement of the chair only. Members of the International Contact Group met on January 16, 2014 in New Delhi to discuss important issues related to the political, security, and economic transition in Afghanistan, as well as preparations for Afghanistan's upcoming presidential and provincial council elections. Indian External Affairs Minister Salman Khurshid delivered the inaugural address. The special envoy to the Prime Minister of India, Ambassador Lamba, and Afghan Deputy Foreign Minister Arshad al-Hamadi addressed the inaugural session, which was chaired by Ambassador Koch, ICT Chairman and German Special Representative for Afghanistan and Pakistan. Special representatives and senior officials from the government of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, more than 50 international contact group members of states and international organizations attended the meeting. Contact group members welcomed the progress made by the Afghan government in preparation for the 2014 elections, including efforts to update voter registration for next year's presidential, for this year's presidential and provincial council elections. They noted the importance of a level playing field for all candidates in the presidential election as essential for a fair contest. Contact group members reaffirmed their support for the electoral process while remaining impartial, neither supporting nor favoring any candidate. The Afghan government reiterated its assurances as to guaranteeing equal access to state resources and access to complaint mechanisms. Contact group members underscored the importance of a credible and impartial independent electoral complaints commission and the speedy establishment of its nationwide operational structure. Contact group members indicated their confidence in the capability of the Afghan security forces to ensure security for the elections. They reaffirmed their commitment to support the security forces at the request of Afghan authorities. Contact group members took note of the progress in implementing the Tokyo Mutual Accountability Framework since the senior officials meeting in Kabul on July 3rd of last year, namely the adoption of the legal framework for the upcoming presidential elections. Members referred to the ongoing discussions on the remaining so-called hard deliverables and looked forward to a joint review of progress later in January. Contact group members underscored the importance of the regional cooperation in order to enhance stability in Afghanistan and the region as a whole. They welcomed the growing sense of regional ownership and awareness for the mutual benefits of cooperation. Members welcomed the convening of the senior officials meeting of the Heart of Asia Group, which will take place tomorrow. They commended the efforts made by regional countries to enhance regional political dialogue ahead of the Tianjin ministerial meeting, which will be hosted by the government of the People's Republic of China in August of 2014. They further commended preparations underway to convene the 6th Regional Economic Cooperation Conference on March 25th and 26th. Contact group members remain fully supportive of Afghan-led reconciliation as the surest way to end violence and bring lasting stability to Afghanistan and the region. Members underscored that the Taliban and other armed opposition groups must end violence, break ties with Al-Qaeda, and accept Afghanistan's constitution. Contact group members appreciated the long-standing commitment by the government of Afghanistan to respect and defend the fundamental rights of women and girls. They encouraged the government of Afghanistan to continue in its efforts to ensure the protection of women's and girls' civil and social rights, and to ensure equal participation of women in the electoral process as voters, as candidates, and election appointees. Finally, the contact group thanked the government of India for its hospitality in hosting this meeting. On behalf of the government of Germany, the chairman thanked ICG members for their continued dedication to the international and regional efforts to support Afghanistan, emphasizing the significant efforts by the government of Afghanistan in preparing the upcoming presidential elections. Very quickly, 2 sentences. The main subject was elections, hardly surprising in view of the fact that Afghanistan will have the next presidential elections already occurred since 2001 on April 5th. The second important subject was women's rights in Afghanistan, a topic that is of great interest to Afghanistan itself, but also to international side. A third topic was regional cooperation, motivated simply by the venue of this meeting in India, a country that has been particularly active in trying to promote more economic integration as a way to have the whole region participate in the success of Afghanistan by directly having the region profit through more and additional economic development by way of regional cooperation. Those are the 3 main subjects, and then in the course of the day, a number of other subjects were dealt with more tangentially, as is the custom in these meetings. And with that, thank you.
And we had a high-powered Afghan delegation, which included the Interior Minister, the Minister for Women, and the Chairman of the Independent Election Commission, and of the Complaints Commission. I all please remember, and now
Thank you very much, Ambassador Koch. Thank you so much for providing another opportunity to through the ICG forum to discuss some of the most pressing issues relevant to the situation in Afghanistan. As you know, Afghanistan is going through a critical phase in its democratic journey. We are facing a number of important priorities in 2014, including democratic transition to the elections in April 2014. We are going through an economic and security transition as well. So for all these reasons, the forum today, the International Contact group provided an important opportunity to take stock of the progress that we have made in different areas, including the preparations for the upcoming elections, Afghanistan government's plan to ensure a secure environment, the progress that we have made in terms of our regional cooperation programs to make sure that Afghanistan transforms into an important hub of regional stability and prosperity. We also discussed the progress that we have made in the area of women's advancement and looked at some of the challenges that we still continue to face. So these were, some of the discussions that we had. I think ICG's value is in making sure that the international community stays focused on the common goals, on the issues that Afghanistan and the international community are doing together to build a stable, democratic, and prosperous Afghanistan. So I'm taking this opportunity. I also wish to thank the government of India for hosting this and for the great hospitality that they have extended to a large delegation from Afghanistan. So I thank you very much.
Please identify yourself.
I'm Nazasra from UNI. My question is Mr. Ahmadi. There are two questions. Number one, when do you hope to sign a bilateral security agreement with the US? And how do you assess the preparedness of your security forces to take on the job of the drawdown of international troops?
We will sign the bilateral security agreement as soon as the United States decides to fulfill some of the expectations that the people of Afghanistan has as regard to preparing the ground for the launch of a peace and reconciliation process and ensuring that we have a good, transparent and credible democratic transition and making sure that the security and safety of Afghan population is fully protected and that they do not suffer as a result of those military and counterterrorism operations. Now, on the issue of whether the Afghan security forces are capable to take charge of security in Afghanistan, and the Afghan security forces are already leading the security and providing protection to the Afghan population. As you know, that we marked a few months ago the final phase of the transition process, and since then the Afghan security forces have proved to be capable enough and that they have shown extreme bravery in the face of difficult situations. While we do believe that the Afghan security forces are capable of providing protection and security to the people of Afghanistan, and as the NATO troops draw down, we do see that continued partnership and assistance from the international community as far as the training and equipment of our security forces are concerned is essential to better success and a much more improved and effective performance by our national security forces. Thank you.
This is Akhilesh Suman from Rajya Sabha Television. It's the Parliament of India's upper house channel. My question is to Mr. Laurel. When we talk about reconciliation in Afghanistan, which actors are you talking about reconciliation among whom? And one of the problems in reconciliation had been the neighboring country of Afghanistan, that is Pakistan. Have you made any clear-cut plan how to rein in these two forces?
First, let me say that my government very firmly and consistently supports a peace process in Afghanistan. We think that's in the interest of Afghans, and we see it in the broader interest of the region and of the international community. We define a peace process as Afghans sitting at a table talking to other Afghans. There's no deal to be had between the United States and the Taliban. There are no steps that we take in support of the reconciliation process that we do not discuss with the government of Afghanistan. We are fully transparent with the government of Afghanistan in all aspects of our support for the peace process. With respect to your question about the role of Pakistan, we very consistently urge the government of Pakistan to play a positive, constructive role in supporting the peace process, and we will continue to do that.
My name is Elizabeth and I'm with the Mint newspaper. Mr. Lamba, in your opening remarks, you said that Afghanistan has had proposed some steps to take the peace process forward, and that was shared by some members who attended the meeting today. Is there any possibility of sharing those details with us?
Should I address this? Well, as you know, peace and reconciliation is an important priority for the government of Afghanistan, and it is a crucial desire of the Afghan people. It is something that we have been consistently working towards, and we have been working with our partners in the region and within the international community to see if we could achieve an effective and credible peace process as soon as possible. We see that that the success of a peace and reconciliation process depends on a constructive role by Pakistan, and we have been working bilaterally and through some other trilateral and international processes to make sure, to ensure and to persuade Pakistan and also the Taliban that peace and stability is in the best interest of both Afghanistan and Pakistan, and we have to cooperate constructively to achieve this goal. While the High Peace Council has been working hard. Unfortunately, there has not been significant progress in this connection, and we hope that that our efforts towards engaging the region in fulfilling the desire of the Afghan people for peace and stability would achieve results as soon as possible, because we see reconciliation as the only solution to the violence and instability which is taking place in this part of the world, and that is why we are working hard towards this goal. Thank you.
What I just wanted to add was that what I had said was that there was the members generally encourage an Afghan-led reconciliation process, and that is what Mr. Ahmadi referred.
Let me just add, sometimes an assumption is made that is, as I assure you, quite mistaken. The assumption is that there is disagreement on this topic. There isn't. Everyone agrees in the ICG certainly that such a reconciliation process amongst Afghans, that's the only process that makes any sense, is the best way forward. In fact, I would go so far as to say that of all the things that one can contemplate to do, nothing offers greater potential to improve significantly, maybe dramatically, the chances for a more secure, more prosperous, more peaceful Afghanistan than the opening, not even the termination, but the opening of a peace process. And this is something that everyone agrees. The difficulty is making it happen. This is the challenge, really a challenge of the diplomatic tradecraft in the end, but not a matter of debate on whether this is a goal worthy of pursuing.
Now I see you from Japanese newspaper Aichi. My question is about the deadline of the signature of bilateral security agreement. First it was the year end, and then after 10th January, and now it seems like even after the election, the successor of Mr. Karzai could be signed. So no problem for the U.S. and international security forces. Even after the election, and no possibility of zero option.
Our position remains that this agreement should be signed promptly. The longer the period of time before the agreement is signed, the more that confidence of the Afghan people in their future will erode, and the more uncertainty there will be developing among the international community about the possibility of supporting Afghanistan as fully as we would like to. If the agreement is not signed promptly, we will be, unfortunately, put in a position in which we will need to plan for the possibility of having no military presence in Afghanistan after 2014. That is not an outcome that we desire. It is not the outcome that we prefer, but it is an outcome that could eventuate based on the decisions of the Afghan government. We cannot maintain a presence in Afghanistan after 2014 without the invitation of the Afghan government. and we cannot put in place the preparations for that presence without having confidence that we will have a basis for staying. So there is no zero option in the sense of an option that we would desire to put in place, but there is a zero possibility that could occur based on the decisions of the Afghan government. And the more time that passes, the more real that possibility becomes.
Mr. Gordon, Mr. Lamba.
My question is for the U.S. representative again. You just spoke about the BSA and Parul Chandra from the HMH. You just spoke about the BSA and the need for Afghanistan to sign it. But could I have your comments on what the Afghan representative said just now about the people of Afghanistan having certain expectations before this agreement is signed by them?
The benefit that Afghanistan receives from concluding this agreement is what flows from the agreement itself. And it is not normally the case that when international agreements of this sort are signed, particularly an agreement of this nature, which is greatly to the benefit of Afghanistan and we believe in Afghanistan's national interests, it is not usually the case that some additional benefit must be paid on top of that. That said, as I mentioned earlier, we very strongly support a peace and reconciliation process in Afghanistan, and so there is no genuine issue between us in terms of the objective of achieving a process in which Afghans are sitting with other Afghans to determine the future of their country. The particular condition that President Karzai has asserted and has demanded in exchange for his signature on the agreement is that the United States deliver the Taliban to the peace table, that we create a public launching of peace talks between Afghanistan, the government of Afghanistan, and the Taliban. While we would very dearly like to see the public launching of peace talks between those two parties, it is simply not within the power or capability of the United States to make that happen. Moreover, the Taliban have publicly opposed the conclusion of the bilateral security agreement. So it hardly seems likely that they will take steps to facilitate signature of the agreement.
Ambassador Lamba and Ambassador Cook.
This is obviously a bilateral treaty between Afghanistan and the United States. It doesn't concern the Germans or any other country. At the same time, I think it must be pointed out that it is only after this treaty has been signed that it will be possible to negotiate and complete a similar agreement, very similar agreement, in fact, between NATO and Afghanistan. In other words, involving all the other countries that have also indicated that they would be willing to make contributions to a future NATO mission for the time frame of 2014. And then I think one also has to see that inevitably there are political ramifications connected to the presence or absence of military forces after 2014. Of course, Afghanistan and the government of Afghanistan should only sign this agreement if they believe that it is truly in the interest of the people of Afghanistan, and we are very confident that that's exactly what they will do and exactly what will happen. So it's not a matter, and I really want to underline this, it's not a matter of trying to find ulterior reasons for signing something that otherwise one wouldn't want to sign. That's not the way it should be. There are, as is true for any bilateral relationship, or in fact in this case any collection of bilateral relationships, all sorts of issues that are being debated at any given time between Afghanistan and her international partners collectively, as for example we just did today, or bilaterally. And that work will have to continue and needs to continue, but it shouldn't be linked up in this way with the BSA for the reasons that my American colleague very ably explained. So I think it's important to recognize that this isn't just only about the United States, but in fact, in the end, has ramifications literally covering the entire engagement of the international community as a whole. Thank you very much.
This is Charu Kasturi from the Telegraph newspaper. Would it be accurate to say, therefore, that the BSA was discussed, at least, or the failure of the two nations to sign the BSA and its impact on the rest of the world, including, as you mentioned, our NATO nations, on India, the regional nation, and so on and so forth, was discussed today, A, and B, was there a broad, what was the broad sense from the other nations, not Afghanistan and the US, but other nations, in terms of what these two nations perhaps would do, and if there any way that the ICG can play a role in facilitating that process?
Well, this was not on the agenda of the ICG, this is a bilateral issue, but it did come up for discussion in their respect.
It wasn't on the agenda. But exactly as has been said a moment ago, it came up in numerous contributions, as I think everyone expected. The ICG is a format where people speak very frankly, I have to say. So an important issue like this, and this is an important issue, and there's no denying it, no one does deny it, will come up. I may be wrong, and correct me, but my sense was that those that I heard voicing an opinion on the BSA, I think all said that it was important, again for the reasons that were explained earlier, to end uncertainty, that it would be important to complete this process rather earlier than later, and rather quicker than slower. And that was, I think, the gist, but not every delegation voiced an opinion, and not every delegation felt compelled to voice an opinion, because, as you correctly said, it wasn't a formal agenda item. Thank you.
Can I just make a couple of comments? First of all, I must say that the relationship between Afghanistan and the United States is based on very strong foundation. We have already signed a strategic partnership agreement with the United States, which is very, very comprehensive. And the BSA, the bilateral security agreement, is only covering the security and defense aspects of our cooperation. We see the BSA which is as an instrument which will open a new chapter of partnership between Afghanistan and the United States, and a new page in which, as a result of this partnership, the people of Afghanistan will no longer suffer. This is a message which was also communicated by the historical consultative lawyer Jirga, a Grand Assembly of elders and representatives from all over the country. They had a unanimous vote of support and approval for the BSA. So in a sense, the people of Afghanistan has already, approved and endorsed our security and defense cooperation with the United States. And this was probably the most historical and unprecedented message of friendship and cooperation that the people of Afghanistan sent directly to the American people. And I think this is the kind of spirit that we need to just arrange our partnership. And just our belief is that that the relationship between the United States and Afghanistan should not be driven by timelines or political circumstances, but rather by the substance, by the foundation, by the strong foundation and strength of this cooperation. And as far as the Afghan expectations are concerned, and as far as the peace process, for example, is concerned, we, the people of Afghanistan, are not yet convinced that the United States is using all the tools in the American toolbox to help bring peace and stability in Afghanistan. And as soon as we have that feeling, I'm sure that President Karzai would definitely sign this bilateral security agreement in a timely manner. Thank you.
So this is Devi Rupa from the New Indian Express newspaper. So when you spoke about the ramifications from the delay in signing the DSA, did you mean basically about the future aid commitments by the international community will be affected?
There is not a direct linkage between the BSA and non-security foreign aid, or even in principle between the BSA and security-related funding assistance. However, there is a practical linkage, and that is that unless we are able to have a troop presence in Afghanistan after 2014, we will not be able, as a practical matter, to be able to provide the levels of certainly security assistance that we have indicated we hope to provide to Afghanistan, because it simply takes manpower to do that, to spend the money. The United States is expected to provide the great majority of funding for support of the ANSF. A lot of that would be spent through the train, advise, and assist mission that we would anticipate having if we are able to maintain our troop presence. And that is necessary in order to manage the process of spending the funds that we hope to provide. We can't simply write a check and forward it to Kabul for several $billions. With respect to the development assistance, the questions that arise are what would happen to the security situation in Afghanistan in the absence of not just in the absence of U.S. and NATO presence after 2014, but what would be, I think, an abrupt and to some extent unexpected, or at least unhoped for, departure of troops. We think that such an abrupt departure could be very destabilizing to the security situation. That is something we very much hope does not occur, and want to avoid. And that is one of the reasons why we hope to have this agreement signed promptly, so we can do what is in our power to avoid that kind of scenario. But if there were a deterioration in the security situation in Afghanistan, as a practical matter, it would become very difficult to deliver the scale of development assistance that we hope the international community will continue to provide.
But that will be the last question.
Namita Dagar from Doordarshan News. Just wanted to know after President Karzai came to India, since India was already training Afghan security forces and building roads, etc. What concrete measures have started or are in the process of training the Afghan security personnel by India after President Karzai's visit? Has anything taken effect?
Well, after the signing of our strategic partnership agreement, and even before that, there have been some training of Afghan officers, which is continuing and is well known. But our emphasis in our assistance to Afghanistan has been on economic reconstruction.
Thank you very much.